why did I sell my Ninja 400? Now, my 400 was a 2021, and I bought it last year towards the end of the summer, I believe. It was right before I got I went through the MSF course, which was the beginning of July. I found it at a really good deal. I know I said it before, but if no one's ever watched it, I was originally supposed to get a new CF Moto 300. I talked the guy down. They were trying to sell them. So for the price point, I was going to pay cash for it. They gave me a good deal. And when I was headed to get that bike that day, I checked online while I was still at work. And this guy who had a Ninja 400, the 2021, it had around 742 miles, I believe, if I remember the number right. Went from, I think, 7,200 to 5,500. I think is what he was selling it for. And I just shot him an offer, and then he took it, which was great. It was a really great bike. I had no issues with it. I did tighten up the throttle because it was a little loose. Well, not loose per se, as in going to come off. It was loose as in responsiveness. So I tightened that up and it was good. But I had no issues with that, minus the standard tire pressure thing. But I mean, that's with stock tires. They normally get like that, especially with Kawasaki's. That's just usually how it is. And I think my first big reason to sell it was for the fact that where I live, and people don't realize this if you're in a car versus on a motorcycle, especially a smaller CC motorcycle, your speed doesn't feel the same. You can see right now I'm driving around 55. The speed limit is 45. And of course, traffic is behind me well enough, but it's still fairly close. I am typically where that happy medium is, where it's a speed limit and traffic, because around me, because you don't feel the same way doing 50 on a bike as you do in a car. And a lot of these newer cars, they're fast. They have enough power to where you just start, all these people with heavy feet aren't paying attention and they're doing 60 in a 45 and they're upset with you because you're driving around 45. Because you're more cognizant and you can feel the speed differently. And it's a lot more dangerous when you have all these impatient drivers, especially around big cities and stuff. And I wanted to be able to ride basically anywhere I wanted to. And it varies from where I live, which is in the country, to main city like Nashville sort of thing. And I want to be able to get around. So I'm comfortably riding my ride, but I know with my Ninja, and I've done before, like this road before my Ninja 400, it was not it. It was not even the hills. It was making it. But of course, if you've ridden a low CC bike, there's no torque. There's no real big jolt of torque to where you can accelerate to get away or stay or keep your distance, that sort of feel. And slowing down is not always your option because it tends to put you in a more dangerous position closer to aggressive drivers. So that was honestly my biggest thing, because I wanted to ride more places and anywhere. And longer distance, like if I wanted to go a few hundred miles away, like in a day sort of thing, my 400 wouldn't feel the same. I always had a lot more vibrations in the handlebar, and even for like a 45-minute to an hour and a half, like one way before I stopped, I had my throttle hand would hurt so bad to where I was just sitting there holding the throttle open with maybe two fingers or one at some points because of the vibrations with that one. And the big thing about that was, I mean, it happens with other bikes, but if you can get a different bike that actually is more comfortable to ride, I'm going to go with that. And of course, there was the release of the Ninja 500 this year. And it's not a huge difference, but it's enough difference to where the value of a Ninja 400 is a little less going into, let's say, the end of this year. And of course, people are going to put up their prices for whatever they want. They want to charge you way too much. A lot, even cars the same way. People are asking way too much for used stuff. And here I am. I was fortunate enough when I sold my bike, it was in really good condition. I didn't have to lay it down or anything like that. So it was in really, really good condition. Low miles still. So I sold it for actually pretty much what I paid for it. So that was fortunate enough for me. And then I ended up with my 650 here, which it's a 2022. I almost forgot what year it was. 2022 650. And for me, I still like the more upright position, not naked, because I still wanted a windshield. That wind turbulence coming forward, and as well as, let's say, and I've ridden in days like this day was actually huge wind gusts from the side though. And it's such a nice bike, and it's that in between. And if you've never felt the difference between the 400 and the 650, I'm not saying a 636, I said the 650, because it has a lot of torque. Basically, it gives you that missing power, and it's smooth. That missing power that you don't realize that you really need on a daily basis, especially with cars that drive really aggressively speed-wise. We'll just say speed-wise. Because, I mean, a lot of people don't drive speed limit, let's be honest. Because I don't, unless it's in the morning where I can't see where the police are at in my car. And there's some roads that you can go down, it's comfortable, it's not too bad. But when you need it, especially on a motorcycle. It's one of those things you do need. And when I got my 650 and took it out for the first time, I didn't realize that gap, how big it was in between the torque and acceleration between the 650 and my 400. So I'm riding down a normal road that would normally try to get around 50, like just accelerate to 50 because it's 45, and of course the cars around me are not going to be doing 45 as a whole. So I try to sit around 50, and I didn't realize it at first. I looked down, I'm shifting up to fifth, and I'm hitting 60 already. It doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel it as a whole. It could be the windshield. It could be, it's a really smooth experience, minus when you you close the throttle. It's just one of those Kawasaki things. But when you're accelerating, it feels so smooth to where you can kind of hear it. You can see RPMs go up, but it's not jerky. Like your bike just starts rolling. And that's what I was missing on my 400. Now with this bike, I know I can't ride as, let's say, aggressively. And when I say that, I mean leaning off the bike is much harder because how the seat sits. This seat's a little flatter and it's a little softer, so it keeps you more planted. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I'm not taking it to the track or anything. But me selling my Ninja 400 to get a bike that substantially will last me longer, that will give me the confidence that I've already gotten on the road driving in traffic, has been well worth it. My Ninja 400 was amazing. I just needed something that would make me feel safer.